And my pop keeps saying that he keeps thinking that there ought to be some way that you can not have to have so many mundane obligations about teaching classes.
No, I think
that there are a lot of other faculty members that would like to have more contact with what you're thinking about.
That would be worse for me.
Yeah?
Well, yeah, because that's just the problem. They want to come in and talk to me, to ask questions or to tell me about something, or to ask me to discuss something. I like to teach, and I don't believe that you can really go, I can really go without teaching. The reason I have to have something that when I don't get any ideas and I'm not getting anywhere, at least I'm living, I'm doing something. I'm making some contribution. It's a psychological thing. I've watched it in the case of the people from the Institute of Advanced Study when I was in the 1940s, when I was there. The Einstein and von Vleeland and all these monster
That's the place
guys.
without classes.
They had no classes, and I could see what happened to these poor bastards. What would happen would be, here they have been specially selected for their tremendous brains, and they've been now given this wonderful opportunity to sit in this lovely house by the woods there, and no obligations whatever, and they can now sit and think clearly, and they're all by themselves, okay? So they don't get an idea for a while.
And they get depressed.
Now, I believe that it worms inside a kind of guilt or depression, that now they have every opportunity to do something and they're not getting any ideas. Then they begin to worry about that, and nothing happens. Nothing happens because there's not enough real activity and challenge. They don't have to think how to answer questions for the students. Nothing. They have all this wonderful opportunity. They've been selected for this. In any thinking process, there's good moments when everything is going good and you got wonderful ideas, in which teaching is the greatest pain in the neck in the world because it has to interrupt you have to prepare the classes, it's a big pain in the neck. And then there are the longer periods of not much is coming to you. You don't get any ideas. You don't need longer periods. And then if you're doing nothing at all, I think it drives you nuts. I think it drives you nuts. You can't even say, well, at least I'm teaching my class. And 1 and 2, you're not even thinking. You have nothing to think about. You don't know what problem to work on. You got nothing to think about. You can't even think about the elementary thing by looking it over again. Because these things are kind of fun and delightful, these elementary things that you know very well. It doesn't do any harm to think it over again. Is there a better way to present it? Are there any new problems associated with it? Are there any new thoughts you can make about them? They're easy to think about. If you don't think of a new thought, no harm done. What you thought about it before is good enough for the class. If you think of something new, you're rather pleased that you have another way of looking at it. You think about a question again, and the questions of the students, surprisingly, are often the source of a new research. When I teach my class now in applications of quantum mechanics, something will come up, and they ask me about something, and I give them a lecture again about how there can't be any hidden variables, and one of the kids doesn't understand it. I explain how it ultimately has a definition of measurement involves probabilities, which is time irreversible, yet the equations are reversible. Profound questions, which I've thought about at times and gave up, so to speak, for a while. It wouldn't do me any harm to think about it again. So I start on the problem of avalanches, a quantum mechanical theory of avalanches, and so on as a result of that. Okay? And I didn't do too much with it. That doesn't make any difference. The point is, I have from time to time thought of things to work on, which are sort of things I started and didn't finish and would like to see if I could go any further now, which I am reminded of by them asking questions in the neighborhood of that question. They might not be as profound as to see all the things I want to answer, the subtleties I'd like to think about, but they remind me of it. If I was alone without
That's much better than the mind contemplating itself, wondering why it
can't remind itself of all these old problems so easy. It's not so easy. So I find the teaching and the students to be the thing that keeps life going. And I would never accept any position in which somebody has invented a happy situation for me. I don't have to teach. Never, never, never. Except perhaps for a short period when I happen to have some good ideas and would just as soon concentrate entirely on those and let the teaching go to hell while I do it. But in any kind of permanent sense, no siree. No siree. I've seen it happen to these great men in the Institute of Advanced Study. It frightened the hell out of me. I decided then and there when I saw them.
Yeah, have you ever been offered a...
Yes. Didn't I ever tell you about that? Well, this I think I ought to tell you. I first became a professor at Cornell, my first job as an assistant professor. I came right out of the war doing work at Los Alamos. And I might as well tell fun stories, okay? While we're at it, you got everything running?
Yeah.
All right, I'll tell you a story. It'll be much longer than did I ever get invited to the advanced study.
Okay.
It's my first days as professor at Cornell. Beta got me this job at Cornell when I was still at Los Alamos, near the end of the war. And I was, I don't know, paid $3,700 a year or something like that. And then I got a raise before I even took the job. They found out that prices had been going up. People were offering more. And I had gotten offered from other place, somewhere, I can't remember where, while I was still at Los Alamos. But I liked Beta, and I had decided to go to Cornell, and I wasn't worried about it. But Beta was always watching, and when he saw I got an offer overnight, he asked him to give me a raise. So I got raised. By the time I got back to start, I had up to $4,000. But anyway, they wanted me there for the beginning of the year, and they told me what date I should come. November 6th, I think it was, or sounds funny it could be so late in the year, but anyway, I don't remember. Maybe it's... And I went by train from Los Alamos. Okay, now you have to understand the pressures that were in Los Alamos. Everything was done fast as you could. Everybody worked very, very hard because of the war. I had also just lost my wife. You see, that was the historical situation. In July, I lost my wife. I went to Cornell. I got in the train, and I still remember it was in a night train from Buffalo to Ithaca that I began to work out. I had up to that time been writing final reports that I was sending back or something, and then I started working on my course, which I knew I was supposed to teach a course in mathematical methods of physics, and so I laid out how to do mathematical methods of physics. It was an ideal time to do it. What I had done during the war was apply mathematics, and I was very good at it from practicing during the war. And I knew all of which methods really were useful and which methods were not, because I had lots of experience by that time. It was so hard for 4 years using mathematical tricks and so. I was in a good position, so I made up this course. I laid out the different subjects in mathematics and how to deal with it. I laid it out. I still have the papers, the notes I made on the train.
In your basement?
Yeah.
Which,
There's floods.
if I hear floods, I'm coming running over to your house.
And help me pull the stuff
Pull them
up.
up to the attic. Yep.
You know, I've moved a lot of stuff up to the attic, but not historical things. And several drawers of notes and stuff.
Good.
And I'm working on this thing, and I've got it ready by morning for my first class, because I have to be there on a certain day. And I think that's my first class, but I don't know what time it is, okay? Incidentally, just for amusement story, I arrived in Ithaca, and I'm carrying my suitcase, you know, and the guy goes, "You want a taxi, sir?" You know, and I've been away from the world forever, and I never wanted to take a taxi because I can always, you know, I'm a young fella, and I'm short on money, and I want to be my own man, you know. So I think to myself, you know, now I'm a professor, and I'm going to try a little luxury. Yes, I'll pay next. Okay, so I take a taxi. He says, "Where to?" I said, "The hotel." He says, "What hotel?" Is it the hotels that you got in Ithaca? He says, "You have a reservation?" I said, "No, I had no reservation." He says, "Oh," he says, "it's difficult to get a room. It's not so easy to get a room." Well, I said, "Oh, we'll go from one to just stay and wait for me." I went up to the Hotel Ithaca. No, they have no room. We got another one. There's the Travelers Hotel. We went over to the Travelers Hotel in a taxi. No, they don't have any room. I say to the taxi guy, "No use driving around in town with me. I'll walk from hotel to hotel. It's going to cost a lot of money." And I left my suitcase in the Traveler Hotel, and I started to walk around looking for a hotel on my feet, walking in the strange town. So I started to wander, and I found some other guy wandering. Now, this shows you how much preparation the new professor had. Other guy is wandering. He's looking for a room, too. It turned out the hotel room situation was utterly impossible. Okay. So we wandered up. I never even knew where the campus was. We went up some sort of a hill, and gradually realized we were coming up onto the campus where the university was. We looked for places to get a room. There was something that looked like a rooming house with an open window where you could see bunk beds in there.
Is this night or day?
Night now. So he and I went into this place. We wanted to ask him if they could let us sleep there. There was nobody in the whole place. The door was open. It must have been a fraternity, a rooming house, something. And we walked up in there, and we saw the beds, and he says, "Come on," he says, "let's